Okay, so today we're diving into the story of Todd Kohlhepp. On the surface, successful real estate agent, right?
Right.
But underneath, a serial killer.
Yeah.
I'm just reading these excerpts from his Wikipedia article. Honestly, it's bone-chilling.
It's a fascinating case.
Yeah.
For sure.
This idea of someone living a double life like this,
Yeah.
it's just, where do we even begin to unpack this?
I think starting with his early life
Okay.
can offer some valuable insights.
Yeah.
You know, the article mentions aggression towards other children,
Right.
cruelty to animals, even an early fixation on sexual content.
Yeah, I mean, those details definitely jumped out at me too. Like,
Yeah.
how could these red flags not have been a bigger cause for concern?
Well, it's important to remember that these behaviors don't automatically mean someone will become a serial killer.
Right.
However, when we look at Kohlhepp's later crimes, these early signs take on a new meaning.
Okay.
In his case, they could point to deeper issues with impulse control, empathy, and a potential fascination with violence.
So it's not a simple cause and effect situation, but more like
Right.
pieces of a puzzle that start to fit together in a disturbing way.
Yeah.
When you look at the whole picture.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's not just the behavioral issues. The article mentions he had a high IQ.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah?
Could his intelligence have actually made him better at hiding his true nature?
It's certainly possible. You see, intelligence can be a tool used for good or for bad.
Yeah.
In Kohlhepp's case, it seems his intelligence may have helped him plan his crimes, deceive those around him, and compartmentalize his life, keeping his dark side separate from his public persona.
So he was almost like a chameleon, adapting to whatever situation he was in. That's incredibly unsettling to think about.
Yeah.
And then at just 15, he kidnaps and rapes a 14-year-old girl,
Right.
Christy Granado. That's a massive escalation.
Absolutely.
Right.
This crime wasn't just a teenage mistake. It was a clear indication of a deeply disturbed individual. What's striking is that even back then, the judge labeled him as dangerous and potentially unrehabilitatable.
Wow.
Knowing what we know now, that assessment is chillingly accurate.
It's hard to believe his attorney actually thought Kohlhepp wouldn't harm anyone again.
Right.
And yet, after serving his sentence for that crime, he manages to build what appears to be a normal life. He gets a college degree, a career in real estate, even owns property.
Right.
It's almost like he was trying to erase his past.
This period is crucial to understanding Kohlhepp
Okay.
because it reveals his ability to manipulate and deceive. He wasn't just blending in. He was actively using his intelligence to craft a new identity,
Okay.
a facade of normalcy that allowed him to gain the trust of others.
You're saying he wasn't just trying to fly under the radar.
Right.
He was actively using his charm and his newfound knowledge of real estate to potentially identify new victims.
Yeah.
That adds a whole other layer of complexity to the case.
And we can't overlook the fact that he got a pilot's license and started buying properties out of state.
Right.
Was this a sign that he was preparing to expand his criminal activities?
Wow.
Create a wider hunting ground, so to speak. It's a chilling possibility.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then we come to the 2003 Superbike motorsports murders.
I see.
4 people brutally killed. Initially, it seemed like a robbery gone wrong.
Yeah.
But when Kohlhepp eventually confessed, we learned about a possible personal motive.
Right.
He'd been a customer at the shop, and his mother even claimed he'd been mocked by the employees when he tried to return a motorcycle. So...
This incident offers a glimpse into Kohlhepp's potential triggers for violence.
Okay.
Was it a perceived slight that he couldn't let go of?
Yeah.
Did he feel the need to assert dominance and control in a situation where he felt ridiculed or disrespected?
Right.
These details, while disturbing, help us understand the twisted logic that might have driven him to such extremes.
Yeah. So it's like his anger and resentment were simmering below the surface, and then something as seemingly minor as this dispute over a motorcycle could trigger this horrific explosion of violence.
Yeah, it's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
And it raises questions about how someone can compartmentalize these extreme emotions and maintain a facade of normalcy for so long.
And then fast forward to 2016.
Yeah.
We have the case that ultimately led to his capture.
Right.
The abduction of Kayla Brown and Charles David Carver. I mean, the details of Brown's rescue from that storage container are just horrifying.
Yeah, the fact that he kept Kayla Brown alive in that container for months is particularly disturbing. It suggests a need for control, a desire to exert power over his victims, to play God in a twisted sense.
And to think, during this time, he was seemingly writing those disturbing Amazon reviews.
Oh, yeah?
That were found later.
Right.
It's almost like a glimpse into his dark humor and his premeditation.
Those reviews are fascinating from a psychological perspective.
Yeah.
They could be seen as a form of leakage.
Okay.
Where his true nature seeped out into these seemingly mundane online interactions.
Mm-hmm.
It's as though he couldn't help but leave these little breadcrumbs.
Right.
These hints of his dark fantasies.
Wow.
And obsessions.
It's just incredibly unsettling that he was able to maintain this online persona while committing such horrific acts offline.
Right.
And it makes you wonder if there were other signs we missed, other clues that were hidden in plain sight.
It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the discovery of Charles David Carver's body on Kohlhepp's property.
Right.
Followed by the bodies of Johnny and Megan Coxey.
Right.
The case just keeps getting more and more complex.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, and each layer reveals something even more disturbing than the last.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what would have happened if Caleb Brown hadn't been found alive?
Right.
Would he have continued his killing spree?
It's a chilling question
to ponder.
And then there's the fact that he ultimately confessed to the Superbike Motorsports murders and the Coxey killings. But in exchange for what seemed like fairly minor concessions, being able to speak to his mother,
right,
giving her a photo, putting money in a friend's child's college fund.
Yeah.
It just struck me as odd, like, why would someone who had committed such heinous crimes bargain for something so seemingly insignificant?
It's a question that gets at the heart of criminal psychology.
Yeah.
Was it a genuine desire to connect with his mother one last time?
Hmm.
Or was it a way for him to maintain a sense of control even in the face of capture?
Right.
Did he feel any remorse?
Yeah.
Or was it all just a calculated move to manipulate the situation?
And let's not forget his chilling statement to his mother, you don't have enough fingers to count all his victims.
Yeah, those words send chills down your spine, don't they?
They do.
It's a stark reminder that we may never fully understand the depths of Kohlhepp's depravity. The fact that he claimed to have more victims than those already discovered is truly terrifying.
Right.
The article mentions that police in Arizona, where he lived for a time, are looking into unsolved homicides from that period.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the unsolved triple homicide at that bank in Greer, South Carolina, back in 2003.
Right.
Kohlhepp was named as a person of interest, but no charges were ever filed.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming to think about all the lives he may have touched, all the families who are still searching for answers, still grappling with the pain and loss he inflicted.
It highlights the ripple effect of these kinds of crimes.
Yeah.
The impact extends far beyond the immediate victims,
Right.
casting a long shadow of fear and uncertainty over entire communities.
So let's talk about where things stand legally.
Okay.
Kohlhepp pleaded guilty to 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal sexual assault.
Right.
He's currently serving 7 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
In a legal sense, justice has been served. But for the families of the victims,
Right.
the wounds may never fully heal.
Yeah.
The knowledge that he will spend the rest of his life behind bars may offer some solace, but it can never truly erase the pain and loss they've endured.
The article mentions that some of Kohlhepp's belongings were auctioned off,
Right.
with the proceeds going to the victims' families.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small gesture, but perhaps it offers a sense of closure, a way to reclaim a piece of the story.
It's a reminder that while the media may focus on the sensationalism of a case like this, the true focus should always be on the victims and their families,
Right.
on the human cost of these horrific crimes.
So, after examining all of this, after delving into the dark world of Todd Kohlhepp, what can we possibly take away from this deep dive? What does it all mean?
It's a question that doesn't have easy answers.
Right.
On one hand, we have this seemingly ordinary individual who was able to blend into society,
Yeah.
to build a life for himself, all while harboring these dark secrets, these violent urges.
Right.
It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that evil can lurk beneath the most mundane facades.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Right.
Except in this case,
Yeah.
we didn't know Kohlhepp at all.
Right.
We only saw the mask he chose to wear.
And that's one of the most unsettling takeaways from this deep dive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Challenges our assumptions
Yeah.
about who we can trust,
Right.
who we think we know.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how many other Kohlhepps might be out there,
Right.
hiding in plain sight.
It's a truly sobering thought.
Yeah.
But, despite the darkness and the horror of this case, I keep coming back to one question. Can we learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something we can glean from Kohlhepp's story that might help prevent future tragedies?
I think there are a few key takeaways here.
Okay.
Firstly, we need to pay attention to the warning signs, especially in children and adolescents.
Right.
Early intervention for those exhibiting concerning behaviors, like cruelty to animals or a fascination with violence, is crucial.
So it's not about labeling every child who acts out as a potential serial killer,
Right.
but recognizing that certain behaviors, especially when clustered together, can be an indication of deeper issues that need to be addressed.
Exactly. Secondly, we need to be more aware of the subtle signs of manipulation and deception. Kohlhepp was a master manipulator.
Right.
Using his intelligence and charm to gain the trust of others and potentially lure them into dangerous situations.
Yeah.
We need to be more critical, more discerning in our interactions, especially with people we don't know well.
It's about trusting your gut.
Yeah.
Paying attention to those red flags, even if they seem small or insignificant at first.
And finally, we need to foster a society that prioritizes mental health.
Okay.
And provides adequate resources for those who are struggling. We can't simply lock people up and throw away the key. We need to invest in rehabilitation programs.
Oh, okay.
In counseling and therapy, in creating a safety net that catches people before they fall through the cracks.
It's about understanding that mental health is just as important as physical health, and that seeking help should be seen as a sign of strength, not weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue with no easy solutions.
Right.
But by addressing these underlying factors, by being more vigilant, more compassionate, and more proactive, perhaps we can create a world where these kinds of horrific crimes become less likely.
That's a powerful message to end on.
Yeah.
While we can't undo the past, perhaps we can learn from it and work towards a future where such tragedies become less frequent. As we wrap up our deep dive into the unsettling world of Todd Kohlhepp, I'm left with a sense of unease, but also a glimmer of hope. Hope that by understanding the darkness, by shining a light on the complexities of human behavior, we can ultimately find a path towards a safer, more empathetic world. Thanks for joining us on this difficult but important journey.